Hi, I'm Erin McGuire, owner of Pure Light Wellness, women's empowerment coach and healer. Today I wanted to give you a video on overwhelm, how to get out of that if you're a sensitive, and just kind of with everything that we have going on in the world, how to help yourself to be less overwhelmed. So make sure to hit that bell if you like this video and subscribe to the channel. We try to do these every week and it's always inspirational and something to help you in your life. So please subscribe and share with your friends. So I am an empath and a highly sensitive person, and I tend to work with a lot of empaths and highly sensitive people as well. And that in and of itself is a very overwhelming thing to have because we have very sensitive nervous systems. So the external world and everything that's going on in it can feel very overwhelming. Everything kind of adds to an already sensitive system. So a lot of times we're taking on other people's energy, we're not sure what's ours. There's a lot of elements at play here. But also, just with what's going on in the world right now, with all the added stress that is happening in our world, I'm finding more and more people are feeling overwhelmed, confused, lacking clarity, and lacking focus. And so in this video, I hope to help you with that if you're one of those people, and to just remember to get reconnected back to yourself. And how do we do that? How do we stop living in that scattered state of mind? So what I've come to realize over the course of time with doing healing work, for me and a lot of my clients, overwhelm, confusion, scattered thinking is actually a byproduct of feeling inadequate and like you're doing things wrong. And therefore you have to prove yourself by doing all these different things. And then if you don't have kind of that right brain organizational skills, because you're more creative, which a lot of sensitives are, then it's really easy to get scattered and not do anything because it's just so overwhelming. So why even start? That's what I hear from a lot of people. When I started to look at how overwhelm was showing up in my life, I noticed that there was a pattern, and I encourage you to look at this too. For me, the pattern was I would have a deadline coming up or something that I needed to do, mostly in my business, and I would stress out about it. Then I would beat myself up because I didn't plan better, so then I got to feel really crappy about myself, which caused me to feel resentful towards myself and even towards my business, which I love. Then it would turn into procrastination, so I'd be procrastinating the thing that I needed to do. I wouldn't feel motivated, which would lead to more resentment. And then finally I'd end up doing the project, rushing through it to get it completed, and then not really being happy with how it turned out because I was doing it super fast. And then finally, at the end of all of that, I would just feel exhausted, and I'd be exhausted the next day even because of all of that mental scramble and beating myself up and making myself feel bad because everything's vibration, as we talk about in many other videos. And so I was putting myself in this horrible icky vibration probably almost for like a whole day or maybe even a couple days of this whole scramble thing. And so I just got to feel really crappy, which is gonna have an after effect, kind of like a hangover. I got to have a crappy hangover feeling. And so how do we get out of the cycle? Well, the very first step, it's probably not surprising, but it's to have awareness. You have to have awareness of the pattern. So what I would recommend doing is to sit and write down, what are my steps to get into overwhelm or to get into feeling scattered? And I know this sounds like it might be a really icky exercise, but until you shed light on the issue, it's gonna keep being repetitive because in some way you've actually become addicted to that pattern. So that was another thing that I realized in this, is that I'd actually become addicted to feeling overwhelmed. Now, for any of us out there that had any kind of chaos in childhood, any kind of trauma, or that sort of thing, we can actually become addicted to that feeling. It's like an adrenaline rush. Like, yes, I get to feel really crappy. I'm used to this feeling. It actually can give you a dopamine and a serotonin rush. So I know that sounds crazy that you can be addicted to negative feelings that are actually harming you in some way, but it's true. The nervous system actually becomes addicted to that cycle. So until you shed a lot of light and awareness around the pattern, it's going to be really hard to break that because you're probably meeting some needs from that pattern. So the first step is to write out what are my steps to getting into overwhelm, and write that as if you're trying to explain it to somebody, like step 1, I do this, step 2, I do this, kind of like what I just did for you. So the second step is to write down what you want and why you want it. So whatever your goal is that you're setting for yourself that you're procrastinating on, is to write that thing out and then answer the question, why? Why do I want this? Because sometimes we want things because other people told us that we should do this. Sometimes we're wanting things because we're trying to please someone else instead of it coming truly from the core of who we are and it being a true value for you, like a soul desire. So really get clear as to your why, because maybe the thing you're procrastinating on isn't even something you need to be doing. So that's a really important step. The third step I'd recommend looking at is if any of these kind of emotions or strange feelings are coming up, or negative feelings if we want to label it, is to really ask yourself, is this? And if it's not yours, then you just say, I simply return this energy to the earth to be transmuted and healed. So we want to think about releasing, because as empaths, sensitive people, we take on a lot of stuff, a lot of energy from other people. We want to have a process of releasing that stuff that is not ours. So just checking in, is this mine? And you might hear a little yes or a no in your mind. Go with it. There's no right or wrong here. And then just do that exercise. I just release and transmute anything that's not mine and let it be returned to earth to be transmuted and healed. And then the fourth step is, what is one baby step you could take towards that goal that you said in step number 2? You could sit and do a brain dump and write down all the action steps you need to take towards that goal, and what's one little thing you can do once a week or a couple times a week that you could put into your calendar and start taking action toward it. Because they've actually studied this, and it's called the progress principle. So the more we take action towards a goal or something that's important to us, the happier we are, because it builds our confidence, it builds a sense of accomplishment, it makes us feel good about ourselves. Like, I'm actually doing the things that I'm saying that I want to do instead of thinking about wanting to do them and not doing them. All of that might be, let's say you want to start working out, but you keep saying you don't have time, especially for the new moms out there. When you have a new baby, you don't have time to do all this stuff that you want to do for yourself. But let's say you do have a goal of wanting to work out and there isn't a lot of time. What if you do like 20 squats in the kitchen while you're making dinner? I mean, something that simple that's moving you towards your goal instead of continuing to make excuses why you can't do it. We can find ways to weave things into our life even if we're busy. It might not look like an hour-long yoga practice or an hour-long time at the gym, but you could do 20 squats while you're in the kitchen waiting for something to finish cooking. Finding ways to weave it in and keeping those commitments you make to yourself is really important, because the more you say you want to do something and don't do it, the more you've learned to distrust yourself. Like, I can't trust myself because I don't keep commitments to myself. When you start keeping those commitments, you're going to start to feel so much better. So let's review those steps one more time. Number 1, know your pattern, write it down, see it no matter how icky it is, and just say, you know what, I've been addicted to this pattern and I'm going to work on not being addicted to this anymore. I'm going to find a new addiction to something that's good, or maybe no addiction at all. Step number 2 is, what is your goal and why? What is it that you want? Is it really yours or is it someone else's? Get clear on the why. The why will also help you accomplish it when times get hard. Step number 3, is it mine? Asking yourself, is this energy even mine? What I'm feeling, these negative feelings, this overwhelm, this procrastination, is it even mine? Get clear on that. And then step number 4, what's a baby step you could take towards that goal? So writing out your action steps, doing a brain dump, and then setting those in your calendar. I hope that you are finding some ways to get out of overwhelm. With the holidays and everything else coming up, sometimes it can feel really stressful, but it's our job right now to stay as grounded as possible. And I'll have a video coming up next week on some different grounding practices to help you stay grounded during this time. And if you would like more tools to help you stay connected, stay grounded, and really step into your worthiness, then click the link below for my Worthy Woman Toolkit. That will give you so many great tips and tools and a little program to work to help you stay in a higher vibrational state and really understand and own your worthiness. If you liked this video, hit that bell and subscribe to the channel so that you always get the latest. We love to hear from you. Leave a comment below. What is something you're going to do to get out of overwhelm as soon as possible? Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again really soon.